Big Pharma, out of control. You are all over this. Tell me about it.
Well, that's what I've been doing in New York this week, is taking depositions with a company called the product's called Pradaxa, Boehringer Ingelheim, German company. Let me tell you what I've learned. Here it is. Celebrex is a 100 milligram Celebrex. 100 tablets cost $130 for the consumer. It costs 60 cents for the company that manufactures Celebrex. And that's a 21,000% markup.
So they make $99.40 on a prescription?
Yes. How about this? Lipitor, 100 tablets, cost $272. The cost to the maker is $5. It's a percent markup of 4,696%. Paxil, 100 tablets, cost $220 for the consumer. To the manufacturer, it costs $7, 2,000% markup. Prozac, 100 tablets to the consumer, costs $247. It costs 11 cents for the maker of that product. The numbers are staggering.
Yeah.
Tom, I asked one of the people that manufactures this product called Pradaxa, which causes people to bleed to death. They check into emergency rooms. They fall. They injure themselves. They can't stop the bleeding with the people taking Pradaxa, so they die right in the emergency room because there's no antidote to stop the bleeding, unlike other Coumadin or similar products.
Yeah.
So I asked the man. This is manufactured in Germany. Okay. Now it costs them. The pill cost them about 30 cents to manufacture. In Germany, they sell it for $4. In the United States, they sell it for $8. And I said, well, what's that about? Why do you sell it more in the United States? And the answer was, because we can. Mm-hmm. And what he was talking about was the Medicare Modernization Act, the 2003 George Bush, the MMA Medicare Modernization Act.
Right, Medicare Part D.
Yeah, Part D, that's right. And what it resulted in is that Medicare cannot negotiate with the big pharma. So what this guy was telling me is, yeah, we have to sell it for less in Germany or in Japan or all over parts of the world because they negotiate with us and they make sure we bring the price down. George Bush and, by the way, President Obama has allowed them to say, well, we're not going to negotiate. We're going to set the price, and Medicare is prevented. They're saying you may not negotiate with the pharmaceutical industry just like you do with everybody else.
Right.
For example, if Medicare chooses not to pay a doctor because they think the doctor's charged too much, they don't pay it.
Right.
With a pharma industry, they pay every dime, and the taxpayers are just absolutely getting
screwed.
Abused on this.
Yeah.
Those numbers
now,
I just read you, by the way, is a reflection of it.
Yeah. Now, with regard to Obama, on the one hand, he does not have the power or authority to change that. That's written into the law. On the other hand, he certainly has the bully pulpit to raise holy hell about it and shame Congress into changing it.
Of course.
So what's the deal? Why doesn't?
Remember when we were coming forward with the Affordable Care Act, this was on the table. They said if you really want to lower the price of medicine in the United States, you have to reverse what these thugs like Billy Tauzin did. This is the guy that, when he was in Congress, was negotiating on behalf of the medical industry, the pharmaceutical industry, to make it to where there was no negotiation taking place between the government and the industry. Thomas Scully, you remember that guy?
Yeah.
He was a former hospital industry lobbyist appointed by Bush to run Medicare. He was the primary negotiator with Congress on the MMA, and he listen to this, Tom. He got a waiver from the government, from the Federal Ethics Rules Committee, to be able to negotiate on behalf of a lobbying job with the pharmaceutical industry while he was helping to pass the MMA.
Well, and Billy Tauzin, we actually had him as a guest on this program a while back, about a year ago. And he got a waiver from the, I think it was the Speaker of the House at the time, maybe it was Tom DeLay or whoever it was, or Denny Hastert, I forget who, saying that he could leave Congress 6 months early or a year early to take this $2 million a year job as the head lobbyist for the pharmaceutical industry right after he finished negotiating, Medicaid Part D and Medicare Part D in the House.
Yeah. Well, this is how it came about, and to say that this administration could not have done anything is they could have done plenty. They could have stood behind it on when the issue of the whole Healthcare Act was negotiated. It was a pivotal part of it, and the administration just simply caved in. And so we're living in a world, as I say. I could go on. Xanax, incredible. 100 tablets, cost the consumer $136. The cost to the maker is 0.024%. It is a 570,000% markup. The government knows that they're doing that. They're not even allowed to negotiate with the company to bring the price down. It's a huge seller. Zoloft the same way. I mean, the problem is until people understand how bad we are getting abused here, it is the key reason that health care cost is so high in this country. And this administration said we want to bring down health care costs, and they've completely cut it out of the process of negotiation.
Do you know of any groups that are working to elevate this issue?
Well, you've got the public citizens. I mean, they're always on the forefront of that, and you've got some people that this is all they've paid attention to all the way back to the time that you remember when this. Keep in mind, in '63, when we came up with 65, 63 to 65, when Medicare was being crafted,
right.
there was no emphasis on drugs. They didn't really care about building in the price of drugs or payment for drugs for Medicare. All of a sudden, that evolved by what looked like a grassroots organization similar to AARP, and in fact, they were elderly that were just being, it's kind of the Tea Party approach. They were a grassroots organization paid for by industry to demand that drugs be paid for. And so the answer to is, well, that's fine.
So it was the drug industry, it was the pharma industry saying we want some government welfare.
Exactly. And so the other side was saying, well, we don't mind that, but we want to negotiate what the price of the drug is. Right. And so that never occurred. And as I say, in 2003, George Bush, with the MMA, the Medicare Modernization Act, Medicare Part D, he gave them this just runaway benefit to say, you know what, you can charge whatever the market will bear. And we shall not, we're not even permitted to negotiate with you on that price. And by the way, you also may not get your drugs from out of the country Medicare.